This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency space. My guest today is Chris Fortier. Chris is the VP of Product at Yuga Labs, working across the entire Yuga Labs ecosystem, which of course includes a Bored Ape Yacht Club, the Otherside, CryptoPunks, Meebits, and more. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an interesting time in Web3 right now, but I'm certainly happy to be here talking about Yuga and talking about the really exciting things that we are about to be launching out into the universe.
Hey, well, sounds good, Chris. And look, I'm happy to have you here. You have, of course, been here before. I think you were here, I don't know how long ago it was. Let's, time
Probably
moves.
about a year,
Yeah, sounds about right. And of course, at that time, let's say a year ago, you were VP of Product at Rally, another kind of, crypto Web3 NFT style ecosystem. And I know before that you were at Twitch as well doing music. So I suppose, Chris, just as a way of introduction for anyone who didn't hear you a year ago, love to just hear some of your professional story and the lead up to Yuga Labs.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been very fortunate throughout my career to have done a number of different types of things. And then the power of Web3 is that it has taken all of these different branches of my career and made them all highly relevant at the same time. So I feel very fortunate in that. But I started my career in finance. I was a really sort of quantitative finance person. I started in portfolio management, a lot of hedging, bond math, derivatives, and things of that nature. And then wandered into private equity, which is more of the sort of qualitative finance. But basically had a strong background in the markets and in financial instruments to kick off my career. I went to business school, and I think like most people in private equity, went into business school as a PE guy, thinking I'd leave business school as a PE guy. And thank goodness my life had very different plans. I actually ended up catching a bit of the startup bug. And I also ended up spending more of my time writing comedy shows than I did attending classes. It's a privilege when you go to a school with grade non-disclosure to actually be able to broaden yourself a little bit, try some new things. And I took advantage of that to every possible degree I could. So, business school foundation, but knowing I didn't want to go and pursue finance anymore, I kind of ended up on the West Coast and was looking around and trying to figure out what was next for myself. And I decided it was time for a passion play. I had always been a gamer, still am a gamer. I'm sitting next to an Alienware rig that runs all of my PC games. Inside of my office is an Xbox One. Like, I am a gamer and will be a gamer forever. And so I gave the games industry a try. Now, the thing about the games industry, particularly back in that time, there was a big emphasis on sort of starting early if you wanted to build games, being in QA, sort of working your way up. And the games industry, the traditional games industry, looked at an MBA and thought marketing person or maybe biz dev or something along those lines. Whereas I just really wanted to make games. And it turned out there was one group in San Francisco at that time that agreed, and that group was Zynga. They knew what to do with ex-finance people, and they turned us into product managers, which was a pretty new discipline for gaming at the time. So I cut my teeth. I worked on games like Hidden Chronicles and the Hidden Object game on the Facebook canvas. And it was a fantastic just opportunity for me, both learning a new discipline, sort of quantitative understanding of these art projects and these entertainment projects, as well as just being able to be in the guts of making games. One thing led to another, and I was at a startup with Mike Verdu, who now has Netflix games, and he and I was early to his startup TapZen, which eventually exited to Kabam, and then wandered over to Electronic Arts, which I think is a rite of passage for a large number of people in the gaming industry. And I spent my time there on both mobile projects and Maxis. And then after a long and very fun stint at EA, I kind of was looking for my next opportunity. And at that time, online streaming of games seemed like it was taking over the entire gaming space, and everyone was at their desks at EA watching Twitch, and everyone was aware of the personalities and super enthralled by what was happening to our industry. And so I sort of jumped in and joined the fun over at Twitch, really focused on music, and that gave me call it B2C consumer product experience, and also a tremendous amount of time focused on music and creators. And I will contend that music is a regulated space. The use of IP and DMCA and how that intertwines with digital media, it all feels very, very highly regulated when you're in the middle of it. So, taking stock of my career at that point, I had a strong background in finance. I had built up a skill set in gamification, and then I had gone deep on sort of creator tools as well as regulated industries. Man, oh man, that is pretty much the definition of Web3. So when I'm in Web3 these days, I feel like I'm using my entire kit, all of the skills I built up across those other experiences.
Yeah, that's such a great way to put it, Chris, and I completely agree. You're almost like the perfect Web3 weapon with a really intense background in finance, a really intense background in gaming, and of course, that kind of storytelling ability as well. So, well, that brings us nicely up to date then. So, your role at Yuga Labs, as I think it was at Rally, is VP of Product. So, I mean, people will know what that means, but for the people that don't, and give us the full kind of color as to what that actually does mean.
Well, there are about 10 different definitions of product manager, and where you are a product manager matters as much as anything in terms of what your day-to-day looks like. But one of the things that's been consistent for me in the product manager definition, and that is certainly consistent through both Rally and Yuga, is I view myself as uniting technology with end users. So, we think at Yuga, and actually we thought this at Rally, this is another commonality. Our end user is ultimately a community member. They're not some customer like Amazon would call them, or someone separate from us or distant. For us, it's these are people that we're in the community with, that we're together with every single day, that we're talking to on Discord, that we're talking to on Twitter. And my privilege is to find really cool ways to improve community member lives with technology, and that can range from vast array of things. So, for instance, you saw we refreshed and updated the Meebits website for that community, and set the playing field for a bunch of more exciting things to come. And all the way to we're constantly investigating what it would look like to help onboard brand new people to Web3, and what are the tools and capabilities that need to be in existence or that need to be improved in order for Web3 to add another 100 million users. And Yuga has a very specific take on our community members. Like we understand their needs very, very clearly. And I think that's just a lens that a lot of other companies in the space can't quite equal, either because their community members are just very different, or because they have more of a customer mindset instead of a building together mindset like we do.
Okay, well, that's interesting, Chris. So I'd love to understand a little bit more about what you mean when you say that Yuga has a specific lens or a specific take on Web3, because just as I suppose a contrarian take on that might be from the outside, people are going to say, well, of course they say that, because and that lens is elite, because only a small percentage of Web3 participants are able to own like an ape or a CryptoPunk or something like that, right? So obviously I know there's other brands as well, but yeah, what do you mean by a specific lens?
Well, yeah, let me break it down a little bit, because certainly a lot of our perspective stems from the fact that our community members are holders of apes, or holders of mutants, or holders of punks, or Meebits, or Otherdeeds, frankly. But here's what I mean when I say we have a unique lens. Our our users are protecting items of high value. They are holding tokens, and they are sort of they're deep into Web3. They are, call it OGs, call it degens, whatever you want to call it. But our users are exposed to all of the goods and bads of Web3 in a way that brand new users or sort of folks who haven't spent a lot of time in this space aren't. And so when we think about, say, safety as one example, we know that our users have lots they could potentially lose, and also that they are in the middle of these opportunities where they could make a mistake or they could be targeted, and so that gives us a very keen safety mindset. But that's not the only way we think about it. We also think about user experience. Many of our community members, folks who were sort of either participating in holding an ape or acquired one of our other tokens, in a lot of cases that was their very first token. And so we have sort of or either observed or heard from folks who handheld those users into joining our community, and we understand the problems of being onboarded into Web3 for the first time very, very keenly. And we've seen that story play out across all of our different collections and across any number of new users. And so I think that it sets our standard and our bar very, very high for true Web3 infrastructure, as well as giving us a very just rich sort of storytelling opportunity for new users and a rich data set of the goods and the bads of how users have joined us in this space.
Yeah, that does make sense. And you're exactly right. The kind of people that are participating in the Yuga ecosystem and holding those assets, they are the OGs or the degens. But yeah, they are the some of the most active participants as well. And so, yeah, interesting thoughts then. Chris, on the Yuga Labs website, I think the first thing you see is it's just a very simple website, and a very simple sentence. It says, "Shaping Web3 through storytelling, experiences, and community." And that you've kind of been speaking to that as we go. So I can see that those are kind of that is one of the North Stars, if you like. I know this is just it's a big amorphous kind of subject and question, but you've mentioned these ideas of experiences, and I know storytelling is part of what you do as well, and of course,
absolutely,
community. So just tie all that together a bit and tell us a little bit about because it's still so early days with Web3, and I know you guys will have so many different projects that are just at the beginning stages. But what kind of Web3 storytelling experiences and community experiences are you shaping at the moment? What are we working on?
Well, gosh, there's no way to answer this question without talking about Otherside. Now, Otherside it's so much for Yuga. It's our metaverse. It is our user-generated content platform. It is our experiment with radical ownership. It is our experiment with virtual real estate. So Otherside is as big a bet as I can imagine a company taking. And it's not even the only bet that Yuga is taking. It's not even the only project or the only opportunity. There's so much going on inside of Yuga, not all of which I can share, unfortunately. But gosh, if let's just say the book of the business school case on Yuga is going to talk about this period as when all of the things were getting built. But let's talk about Otherside, and let's answer your question directly about narrative and storytelling. So, what is Otherside? Well, right now, it is going to be a game that you can play. It's going to be an experience you can share. It's going to be a hub for activities and parties and social to occur. And it's also going to be a place where you can dig in and build your own whatever. Build your own experience, build your own game, build your own clubhouse for your NFT collection. And it's going to be all of that because we are starting from a sort of very strong, call it authorial view. The Otherside is a real place. It is a real place in a digital world. It is going to feel Yuga. It's going to feel like our brand. It's going to feel like our storytelling capabilities, and it's going to have a story of its own to tell. But we are also opening up Otherside through our Otherdeed development kit, or Otherside development kits, to allow people to basically use Unreal Engine and wipe the slate clean, and build their own view of what that world should be. It'll all be connected through this metaverse, and it'll sort of share, an identity system and an avatar system. It'll share ways for users to recognize and band together and interact with each other. But then the experiences you tell on your deed could be, as creative as you could possibly want. We certainly expect other NFT collections to join us on the other side and, build a clubhouse for their collection. And we certainly expect our social hubs, the meeting points, to be places where culture occurs, where art and music and social interactions all blend together. And thanks to our tech stack, we also intend to be delivering all of these experiences with a level of concurrent users that is pretty exceptional. So Otherside is this massive opportunity for us, and frankly, I think we think about building Otherside as an exercise in giving back to our community. The Otherdeed holders are going to be the storytellers with us, but we want this to be just a place for all of Web3 to be able to come in and really put their stamp on something. So to us, it is as much infrastructure for all of Web3, which sounds dull, but really it is the basis for lots of other people to tell their stories. And Yuga is going to tell a tremendous amount of stories inside of this canvas as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And on the Otherside website then, Chris, you talk about how Otherside is where the impossible happens. With the power of Improbable's M2 technology, 10,000 plus players will be able to interact simultaneously in a single place, connect with voice chat, experience rich immersive gameplay supported by AI and physics, and move between metaverse. And then you're right. Typical online game worlds can handle around 10,000 operations per second. Otherside will be able to handle more than 500 million operations per second, which will power new gameplay and interactions at unprecedented scale. So, it sounds fantastic. Great if you can kind of solve the problems of bandwidth and rendering and all that stuff. It sounds, the best comparison with that kind of 10,000 players in one space. Like, people will of course be familiar with Fortnite, which I think is, it's like 100 players when you're playing
that's right.
the typical Fortnite game. I suppose I'm saying, Chris, it sounds amazing. Where are we on that? Where are we on that journey? And I know it will kind of roll out stage by stage, but just
of course. Yeah, well, and I think when you make bold claims around technology, the very first thing you should do is back them up. And that's what the Yuga team and the Improbable team have done with our first trip back in July. So in July, we were able to invite, I believe it was 4,600 concurrent players to participate in a shared experience where everyone loaded in, everyone dropped into the clubhouse world, and then everyone experienced the very first 4,600 V1 boss battle in gaming history. Yes. All while having the amazing audio experience, the voice chat, and it was I think a tremendous demonstration of what Otherside could eventually become. And that was July. We've had a lot of time since. This launch is going to be, we believe, Web3 history, and this launch is going to represent again, a new shared space, a new commons for members of Web3 and for people to come join us. You should be expecting a second trip. You should be expecting many more opportunities to come in and join the other side. And while Otherside is always going to be better if you have an Otherdeed or know someone who has an Otherdeed, we do fully expect this to be open to everyone. And when it launches, it's going to be, again, a new global platform.
Yeah, so just explain a bit more about how that would work then. So you're saying that the other side is not limited to people who have an ape or a mutant or a Meebit or a CryptoPunk or indeed an Otherdeed. Maybe just explain a little bit more about and how what an Otherdeed is and what kind of rights and ownership it grants to people that have one of those. But also, Chris, yeah, so you're saying that anyone in Web3 can potentially participate in the other side?
That's right. So Otherside is an interoperable metaverse. We are open and we are inviting all of Web3 to join us. The Otherdeeds themselves are worth getting into. There's a tremendous richness to the Otherdeeds. They have all of these traits like resources or the codas, who of course are subject to much internet lore at this point. The substrates, the different types of biomes. And I can tell you that all of these traits are part of the Yuga storytelling experience. They're part of why Otherside is a place and not not a portal. Why it's not anything like a browsing experience. It's going to be a place with tangibility, and we are really excited to share more specifics about the Otherdeeds in the very near future. And I would expect going deeper on the Otherdeeds themselves to be one of the things that you're going to hear about from Yuga as we sort of are building this in public with our community and sharing this experience together.
And I did have it written down in my notes, Chris. WTF is a coda. I remember,
well, we've seen enough of the lore of codas now that I'm going to take a sort of fan of Yuga answer to that and say certainly codas are involved in the creation of Otherside. Certainly, it seems like they have incredible powers. And we've seen at least 10,000 of them on Otherdeeds scattered throughout the world. And I don't think that's the last we're going to hear about the codas.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it won't be the last at all. Some other things I just wanted to kind of check in with you on, Chris. You said right at the beginning that it's I don't know what you said, something like it's a strange time in crypto. And man, that's an understatement. It is a strange time in crypto. Obviously, 2021, incredible year for Web3 NFTs, and just bringing a new people into the ecosystem. Really, one of the things I always like to say is, there's only so many people on the planet that are going to get excited by the possibilities of a decentralized, censorship-resistant form of money. It's a little bit of an abstract idea for a lot of people, but once you can kind of bring, culture, gaming, music, all collecting art, cartoon apes, all that stuff, it just speaks to a much wider segment of the human experience. And I think
that's right.
we saw that in 2021. Of course, a year later, and we're in the dreaded crypto bear market, and a lot of the air has gone out of the market. Of course, what's happened with FTX? Well, this is just what happens in bear markets. Things go wrong. So approach this however you want, but just like to get a sense of how you guys view the kind of the current state of the market. But I suppose also, how does this impact the growth of Web3? And, if we want new people to come into the ecosystem, there's just a higher level of skepticism at the moment. How do we combat that, and what do you see going forward?
I mean, these are the key questions, right? Now, Andy, I would say there's no bear market in storytelling, and there's no bear market in media or in entertainment, at least not when it comes to our human desire to share these things and to have experiences. And I think one of the things that really separates the NFT communities that I'm a part of from the more traditional crypto communities that I'm also a part of is the NFT communities. They're creator centric. They're focused on storytelling and community and involvement and engagement, and they have their own rhythm and they have their own sort of excitement to them. And while they're certainly, the NFT communities are of course affected by overall trends in crypto, and we all see the same headlines, we all read the same tweets, but nonetheless, the community positivity on the NFT side has been it's been impressive to watch. So when we think about what we're doing at Yuga, we're just really excited about the fact that we have so many irons in the fire, that we have so many things that we want to go build, and so many things that we are going to release to our community, soon, over the next months, and certainly throughout the next year. That to us, this is what we were built to do. Ultimately, the money side of crypto will do what the money side of crypto will do, and for us, that's not even really a consideration. We just focus on our community, we focus on the things that we want to build, and we focus on thinking about gaming and thinking about storytelling as the way to get people excited about the technology. And then as people are excited about the technology, we need to make sure that the user experience, that the onboarding, that that everything is there to meet them at the same time. It's easy to say that crypto has a user experience problem. I actually think crypto has a storytelling problem, and there haven't been these really rich experiences to excite people to jump through the hoops of getting involved in crypto outside of the DeFi and the money side. I think what you're seeing increasingly with things like Otherside, with the other things that we are going to be building for our communities, is having the technology sort of enable new experiences without having the technology be the experience. Ultimately, users are more interested in the benefits they can get from technology than they are in the specifics of how it works. And that's been true ever since technology has been a thing. So we want the benefits to be obvious. A massive shared world, for instance, or an incredible concert, or a game of tag with 10,000 of your new closest friends. Those kinds of gaming experiences or media experiences are going to be better because of Web3 technology. They're going to be better because of radical ownership, transparency, and the use of blockchain. We believe that firmly. But we also, really just want them to be awesome. And making them awesome is what we think is going to bring the users more than the specifics of the tech.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can make it awesome, you can do anything in this world. But that's the kicker. It has to be awesome.
That's right. And I think one of the powerful things about the Yuga brand is people see us as storytellers, and we are having just tremendous luck finding people who want to tell stories with us and come join us, whether that be inside of Yuga, whether it be joining one of our communities and telling stories that way. Like, it's been amazing to see the talent come together, all in the name of just building an awesome community.
Yeah. Chris, you use the term radical ownership, which I enjoy. I enjoy that. I like it a lot. Just talk a bit about what you see as being enabled by radical ownership, and briefly, just love to, maybe this is part of it, but love to just briefly understand the Yuga Labs take on IP, intellectual property, for NFTs.
Absolutely. And this is core to our identity at Yuga. This goes back to our founding. This goes back to our earliest days. The understanding that when you join the Yuga community, you own the community with us, that you are a full member of it, that you are a part of this. All of that has been core to our understanding of what makes a good NFT community, or really what makes a viable NFT community at all. From the very beginning, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and then the Mutants and the Kennel Club, quickly following suit, have conveyed IP rights to the individual token holder. Anyone who owns an ape or a mutant is able to use that in to start a business, to build a brand, to any way that they could imagine. Now, this is not legal advice. Please go read the IP arrangements. There are licenses, etc. Yeah, I've been in the music industry long enough to know there are always there's always going to be some sort of legal document involved in IP rights. Yes. But I think it's fairly universally acknowledged that the IP ownership that Yuga offers to token holders, or offers to community members, is it's unique, and it's the foundation of a lot of just really interesting experiences inside of our community. There's that component of radical ownership, but radical ownership can also be a little simpler. we think, we are surrounded by digital assets, whether that be things that you've bought for games you've played on your Xbox, whether that be your account at a certain website. Our universe is absolutely intertwined with the digital at this point. What the blockchain enables is this opportunity to really have clarity over the ownership of digital assets and to allow for those digital assets to be conveyed. We also, of course, are thinking about the rights and the ownership of creators in the space. So certainly we're very aware of creators making a living and trying to support creators in any way that we can. And we've been very public about the foundation of the Web3 and NFT communities as being pro-creator and being something that can allow people to make a living doing what they love.
Yeah, very, very nicely said, Chris. Thank you for that. Just in preparation for talking to you yesterday, I discovered the Yuga News website, and it's quite it's a cool website, but it's a cool website because when you first go there, you have to set up a kind of you have to authenticate yourself essentially, so you can come back and not be scammed by a fake website. And you can obviously you don't do it by with any kind of real world identity. You can just choose a passphrase and any kind of image. So I just used an image of Sam from FTX. So
timely.
So now I'm looking at the website, and my little authentication. I can't say that word today, but I have my little box.
Your authenticator?
Yeah, it has a little box, and I can see Sam is in the box looking back at me. So that's quite creepy, but it means I'm on the real Yuga Labs website, and so I can see just some brand new news was published there earlier today. Yuga is acquiring WeKnew and its flagship NFT collection, 10KTF. So
yes,
we are
so excited about this.
Yeah, I've just kind of read it really quickly myself, but it's probably better to get you to kind of just talk us through the news here, Chris.
Well, so gosh, I can tell you I've met a tremendous amount of the WeKnew team at this point, and man, incredible humans, incredibly talented storytellers, incredibly gifted engineers, incredibly talented artists, and it's going to be so much fun building with them. WeKnew and the 10KTF team, they're so clearly aligned with Yuga when it comes to a devotion to storytelling and narrative. I mean, the Thursday drops on 10KTF, they are the must-see TV that replaced Game of Thrones on Sundays. Like they have been these shared moments of community and shared moments of entertainment that have just absolutely been amazing. And we absolutely cannot wait to see what they can do, arm in arm with us and working on Otherside and bringing their narrative chops and their engineering chops to our smart contracts and the NFTs we're going to build for Otherside and just the whole thing. This is one of the most exciting moments for me since I joined Yuga. I can't get over how much we're going to be able to do with this team.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Well, I think we could probably start to wrap this up, Chris. And look, we can do that any way you want. Firstly, look, please do feel free to give a shout out to your personal Twitter, anything like that. But also just love to hear anything you can start to hint at. I know it's always very hard to do that. You'll have lots coming down the pipeline, but yeah, just what's coming next?
Oh, absolutely. So if you'd like to follow me, I am at CFort9 on Twitter. And certainly love to have you follow the Yuga Labs socials. We've got, let's see what we've got here. There's, I'll get you the Yuga Labs socials in just a second. But ultimately, the main thing I'd like to leave everyone with, Yuga has so much opportunity to build, and it's all thanks to the engagement of our community. We're pulling together these experiences and these storytelling opportunities and these moments, and they're all based off of how engaged our community is and how excited they are and how leaned in they continue to be. And we couldn't do this without our community. And so things like Ape Fest this past year, and other moments that we've had digitally, first trip in July. All of these represent just a taste of the things that Yuga wants to bring to the community in the next months and over the next year. And frankly, I think if I can leave one overwhelming message, it's that you ain't seen nothing yet when it comes to Yuga. There's so much more for us to be excited about, and so much more for us to bring to the community. And it's going to be wild, and it's going to be big. And pretty much, Andy, we'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side. And yeah, the Yuga Labs Twitter is just at Yuga Labs. I guess final question, Chris, you know, I kind of said it at the beginning, there's right or wrong, there is a perception that Yuga Labs is, maybe elite's the wrong word, but I think you know what I mean, because as I said, you know, getting a CryptoPunk or even a mutant or an ape's just out of reach for a lot of your kind of average everyday people coming into Web3. Make the case for why those just your average Web3 curious people, why should they keep an eye on what you guys are doing at Yuga, and what are you doing for them?
Yuga is building for everyone. We're building for people who have been with Web3 from the beginning, and we're building for the next 200 million people that haven't even heard of Web3 or wouldn't even consider it, or just think of it as, you know, that thing their nephew is into. Yuga is a brand and a studio that will build to anyone who wants to join us. Otherside is going to be the interoperable metaverse. It's going to be where everyone can come and join Web3, where everyone can come and play and experience. And the big picture is that the really leaned in communities of apes and punks and Meebits and Otherdeed holders, they are the engine that is helping us build for absolutely everyone. And that's well past the boundaries of Web3 as we imagine it right now. So I would say, be very, very glad for the community engagement and the awesome sort of soapbox that our existing communities have given us, and get ready for what is to come.
Thank you, Chris. See you on the other side.
Thanks, Andy. Take care.
All right, there you go. That was Chris from Yuga Labs. Very cool to hear Chris's perspectives. And yeah, I mean, I think what Yuga Labs are doing, they're obviously right at the tip of the spear in terms of Web3 and metaverse experiments. And yeah, no other way to say it, really. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, team at Yuga Labs. See you on the other side. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin.